Rolex 24. There's nothing in it.
Hold up, wait a minute. We gotta figure out how we got here. Welcome to the 2023 This Week in Racing Rolex 24 recap show. This is the video where we go through all the highlights of the twice around the clock IMSA Crown Jewel event. To make sure you don't miss any new uploads, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell. The 61st running of the Rolex 24 got underway with defending champions Meyershank Racing in their new Acura ARX 06 leading the 61-car strong field to green. Going into the weekend, the Acuras were the favorites, but Cadillac and Porsche were hot on their heels. BMW was the only one of the 4 GTP manufacturers to not do a 24-hour endurance test, putting them behind the 8 ball. Our first incident came on the opening lap when the number 8 Tower Motorsports LMP2 car had an issue with the drink system leaking onto the ECU inside the cockpit, causing the ECU to short circuit. The car, driven by John Ferrano at the time, also had IndyCar stars Joseph Newgarden and Scott McLaughlin as co-drivers. They eventually rejoined the field 10 laps down. Our first incident between two GTP cars came between the 31 Action Express Cadillac and the number 6 Team Penske Porsche, with Nick Tandy nearly spinning off the bumper of Jack Aitken. Trouble hit the number 7 Penske Porsche next, as coming out of the International Horseshoe, it completely lost power. Matt Campbell was creeping down the infield straightaway for almost 30 seconds until he was able to reset the car's system and get it back going. Early on in the going, one of the frontrunners in GTD, the number 32 Team Korthoff Mercedes, was turned around in a gaggle of cars in the Western Horseshoe that involved the GTP front-running number 31 Action Express Cadillac. Another close call with another Cadillac as the 02 goes around coming off of the speedway and nearly gets hit by the number 88 AF Corsa LMP2 car. Fortunately, all cars were able to recover and get back going. The first major incident of the day was the number 42 NTE Sport Lamborghini of Robert McGuinness locking up into turn 1 and sliding all the way to the inside tire wall. The tires were completely shredded and there was some front end damage from that slight impact of the tire barrier at the end of the incident. They did, however, keep going. It was becoming obvious early in the race that traffic would play a huge role in the front-running battle in GTP. With the GT field being 33 strong and 19 other slower prototypes they had to negotiate through, it was tough for Colin Brown, driving the number 60 Acura, to find a way around the traffic on the high banks. As the 60 came up on a slower LMP3 car, it had to basically ride the wall just to get around. And Renger van der Zande had to block for his life as Brown got a massive run from the side draft of the P3 car, going right up to the tail end of the 01 Ganassi Cadillac. As the sun started to set, the dominance of the Acuras started to fade. Then came our first issue in the pit cycle. The number 01 Cadillac had a little bit of an issue getting out of its pit stall because the team car was parked at a nearly 45-degree angle in front of it. This cost the team valuable time and track position. By putting their two pit stalls together, they ran the risk of one car blocking the other's exit from its pit stall. As the night fell and the lights came on, the Acuras were still out in front, with Colin Brown leading the number 10 WTR Andretti car driven by Louis Delatraz. The recovering number 7 Porsche driven by Matt Campbell was catching up, only 3.1 seconds behind the two leaders. Throughout the week, it seemed to be the Porsches that were stronger during the night running at the Roar, but would they be able to challenge the Acura, who barely changed their design from their 2022 DPI car? If you look at the two side by side, it's pretty hard to tell a difference. Eventually, Matt Campbell caught up in the West Horseshoe and slingshot around the outside of the number 60. As the track turned to darkness, there was another issue for the number 8 Tower Motorsports LMP2 car. This time it involved the number 01 Chip Ganassi Cadillac that had nowhere to go as the number 8 was spinning in front of it and was rear-ended by the number 13 LMP3 car. There was a big slide for the number 80 AO Racing Porsche and GTD as one of the LMP2 cars went to its inside, forcing it off track and into the Rolex signage. The 80 sustained minimal damage, but that was not the case for the number 11 TDS Racing LMP2 car that was driven at the time by Stephen Thomas. The car was leading in the LMP2 class when it was clipped by a GTD car coming into the Le Mans chicane. The right rear suspension broke and Thomas had zero control over the car other than being able to slow it down before it hit the tire wall. Coming to the restart, the 31 Cadillac was leading the number 60 Acura. Helio Castroneves had a massive draft coming into the tri-oval as the cars passed the start-finish line, sent it in around the outside of the 31, and lost control, sliding off the track toward turn 1, completely flat-spotting that set of tires. Tire allocation for the GTP teams was already a big issue. Then there was trouble for the number 18 Era Motorsports LMP2 car, with Dwight Merriman being penalized earlier due to a wave around infraction. The car was spun off the front bumper of Rasmus Lind's Andretti Autosport LMP3 car, and it took the team multiple laps to get the car righted again. It took race control quite a while to penalize Rasmus Lind, but he did eventually serve a drive-through penalty, costing him the LMP3 lead. As Jack Aitken drove away, Brendan Hartley was battling with Alex Lynn in the Cadillac for second place, with Hartley holding on around the outside all the way through Speedway turn number 2 and down the backstretch before Lynn had to concede going into the braking zone for the chicane. Even though minor teething issues plagued the brand new GTP class, the racing was absolutely spectacular. As the race neared midnight, the fireworks went off in the infield next to Lake Lloyd. A tradition at the Rolex 24 for decades, it's an incredible experience for the fans camping out in the infield. But back to the race, there was some trouble for the number 43 MRS GT Racing LMP3 car. With the car going well off track into the grass in the International Horseshoe, the car caught fire exiting the Le Mans chicane. The car came to a halt on the apron of Speedway Turn 3 and was later seen in the garage, abandoned by the team. Just past the halfway mark, the number 60 Meyershank Racing car was seen with the whole rear assembly and engine cover gone, with team members topping up the gearbox with fluid. Mike Shank later revealed after the race that the car had been struggling with gearbox issues the entire running, and it was a quote miracle that it got to the end. At the 8-hour mark, the LMP2 battle was still incredibly close, with 5 of the 10 cars still on the lead lap, most of them within just seconds of each other. The next GTP car to hit issues was once again the number 16 Team Penske Porsche, going off the track in the infield kink in a very similar style to the number 80 AO Racing Porsche. After a quick spin through the grass, the car appeared to not have any damage, so the team continued on. Drama then struck the GTD Pro leading number 23 Heart of Racing Aston Martin, with a suspension failure in the left rear leading to the team losing a wheel. It would lead to the car's eventual retirement. The number 7 Team Penske Porsche spent over 25 minutes behind the wall just before daybreak as the team changed the car's battery. This change did go a lot faster than what most GTP teams thought was possible. Changing a component such as the battery or the motor generator unit took nearly half an hour or even up to 45 minutes in the Roar, an issue that would almost certainly drop a GTP car out of contention for the 24 win. With 4.25 hours to go, the number 60 came in again to top up on gearbox fluid. The team was seen only removing the rear assembly and working on the car while the rest of the pit crew went to work. An almost 7-hour green flag run came to an end when Anders Fjordbak binned it in the first section of the Le Mans chicane. The number 20 high-class racing LMP2 car was written off completely and was seen later back in the paddock, the entire right side of the car torn up. Seen from the number 14 Lexus, he just got loose on the curb and slid into the tire wall at just the wrong angle. The next restart treated us with incredible GTP battling as the number 6 Team Penske Porsche was battling to get its lap back from the 2 Cadillacs. On the high banks, Nick Tandy made it 3 wide and was able to pass both Chip Ganassi racing cars and go after the 60 to get one of its 2 laps back. But in a matter of 15 minutes, things quickly turned worse for the 6. After stopping in turn 1 for 2 straight laps, the Porsche 963's gearbox let go on the back straight, ending the day for the 6 crew with just under 3 hours to go. Another front-running car in a different class would face problems with traffic. The number 14 Vassar Sullivan Lexus was held up by a slowing number 83 LMP3 car, which allowed the number 3 Corvette to get a run at him going into turn 6. The car sustained some minor front-end damage, but was able to continue and finish the race. Under that caution for the number 83 LMP3 car, the number 25 BMW, which was already 100 laps down due to a battery issue in the first hour, spun under caution at the exit of the Le Mans chicane. As the car exits the Le Mans chicane, Nick Iololi gets on the gas too fast and spins the car down into the grass. Windward Racing's fairy tale day ended on the next restart. After Lucas Auer rode off the pole-sitting primary car in practice, the number 3 Corvette drove it into the wall on the ensuing restart. The next incident happened just a couple hundred feet down the road. As the 57 tried to get out of the way, everyone got bunched up. The 21 Ferrari went around off the bumper of the number 80 Porsche and collected the number 77 Volt car. One of the last major incidents of the day was the number 35 TDS racing car getting turned around in turn 1 and getting taken out of contention for the LMP2 win. The Porsches and Cadillacs came close, but in the end, it was Acura that still dominated, with Tom Blomqvist, Colin Brown, Helio Castroneves, and Simon Pagenaud taking overall honors in the 61st Rolex 24. This race being Helio Castroneves' third straight overall victory at Daytona. In LMP2, it was a thrilling battle to the end, with James Allen picking up the draft coming out of the final corner and into the tri-oval, beating Ben Hanley in the number 04 CrowdStrike car by 0.016 seconds. One IMSA finish that won't be forgotten anytime soon. The car that James Allen was able to get a draft off of was the class-winning car in LMP3, the number 17 AWA Duquesne, driven by Wayne Boyd, Anthony Mantella, Thomas Merrill, and Corvette GTE AM driver Nico Varone. And in Cooper McNeil's final race, the number 79 WeatherTech Racing Mercedes AMG took the victory in GTD Pro over the powerhouse number 3 Corvette. And the Heart of Racing was able to bounce back from their issues in GTD Pro to win the GTD Pro Am class with their other car, the number 27. So, that's it. Those are the highlights of this year's Rolex 24 at Daytona. Thank you guys so much for watching. Comment down below, what was your favorite part of this year's race? Make sure to like the video, subscribe, hit the bell, and share with your friends. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.